And faith is a spiritual currency for entrepreneurs. Okay. 4 practices to defeat doubt. Um, Cast the doubt. Casting down doubt. Okay. 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 So it's actually for entrepreneurs who wants to make impact in their generation, who wants to create um, uh, a long-lasting legacy, and who wants to be intentional about um, creating the life they want. Okay, Mr. George, please help me out with this one. Thank you. So we have a lot to discuss today, like very serious. Yes. Okay. Um, okay. So we have a few statements to make before we start the outlines, and it's very important we write it down. Write it down your note very well. Doubt is not the absence of faith. Full stop. Doubt is not the absence of faith. Doubt is not the absence of faith. Full stop. It's the presence of conflicting beliefs. Doubt is the presence of conflicting beliefs. That means there are so many beliefs. You have two beliefs in your mind. You believe God can do it, but God will not do it for you. So it's conflicting. You too far. The first outline is the anatomy of too far. The first outline is the anatomy of doubt. It's going this way now. Okay, this way. The anatomy of doubt. Okay, so I know we are not doing okay. The anatomy of doubt is that doubt takes three different steps before a doubt is created. So doubt follow 3 different steps. So um, before we mention the anatomy of doubt, uh, we okay. Let me do like this. Write it down. Very important. Understanding the real psychology. Understand the real psychology. Understand the real psychology and spiritual anatomy of doubt. Understand the real psychology. The real psychology and spiritual anatomy of doubt. Understand the real psychology. Understand the real psychology and spiritual. Understand the real psychology. Understand the real psychology and the spiritual anatomy of doubt, because it is the same pattern from Genesis 1. It's the same pattern from Genesis till today. Let's put it like that. Understand the real psychology of doubt. I'll show you the psychology of doubt, the anatomy of doubt. Understand the psychology and spiritual anatomy of doubt, because it's the same pattern from Genesis till today. Same pattern. In my family, the same pattern. In my business, investment, same pattern. Understand the psychology of doubt and spiritual anatomy of doubt. because the same pattern from Genesis to today. So a psychology and anatomy of doubt is the same. So how does it start? It starts from suggestion. Doubt starts from suggestion to become what? A scenario, to become what? A stronghold. So we take them one by one. That is the anatomy of doubt. Doubt does just manifest. That every doubt starts from suggestion to scenario to stronghold. So, and for us to reprogram ourselves to get back whatever we want to achieve as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, you have to go back to the same suggestion. I will show you when it comes to um, the the currency, okay, the 4 practices of to defeat doubt. So the same practice that you used is the same practice that you also use to reprogram yourself. So every doubt starts from suggestion, scenario, and a stronghold. So we have to take the notes one by one so that we understand how it works. So the first one we take here is suggestion. Suggestion. Write on your note like suggestion. Suggestion. Okay. So write the suggestion, write it like this, maybe one suggestion, so that we can take them one by one. Suggestion, bracket open, conversations, conversations, conversations. So every suggestion happens in conversations. Okay, so every suggestion happens in conversations. So write it down, very important. The enemy introduced a conflicting idea. The enemy introduces a conflicting idea or thought through conversations. The enemy introduces a conflicting idea or thought through conversations with yourself or with others. The enemy introduces a conflicting ideas and or thoughts through conversations with yourself or with others. So there are 3 major questions the enemy will ask you that this suggestion will lead me to doubt. So once you see them, you see these 3 questions as suggestions with yourself or with others, you can stop it. So if you're not aware, you will not know. And once you don't know, you start to entertain it. When you start entertaining it, it becomes a stronghold. But after this class, you'll be aware that the real enemy is not people. The real enemy is doubt. And how you can stop doubt is to understand the psychological or the anatomy of doubt. That doubt doesn't just manifest. A man does not just doubt. Something leads to doubt. And that thing that leads to doubt is always suggestion. So in conversations with yourself or with other people. So the first thing, these things come like an idea or a thought. I said the enemy introduced a conflicting idea or thought in conversations with yourself or with others. So how does he do that? You start asking, what if you are wrong? What if I am wrong? What if I am wrong? So once you begin to ask yourself that question, my brother, just watch. Doubt will start setting in. What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? What if I embarrass myself? So when you start asking this question, or what if somebody tells you, what if you fail? What if you go to millionaire school and you did not try to become a millionaire? What if you go to a medical school and you don't become a doctor? You go to a law school, you don't become a lawyer? What if you fast through tailoring process and you don't become a tailor? What if you did not succeed? What if you cannot make it? What if your marriage failed? What if your business failed? What if your enterprise failed? What if your organization you are building could not stand the test of time? What if? So what if is a problem. So when you need somebody telling you, what if you cannot do it? Tell him, get thee behind me, Satan. Because it should not be something you should entertain. After all of us that succeeded, we succeeded by failing. Because failure is not the opposite of success, part of success. A child that's afraid to fall will never walk. All of us walk by falling down. You try, you fall. Because it's a first attempt. It simply means first attempt in learning. That is fail now. First attempt in learning. Tell me, first attempt in learning. Try again. Do whatever it takes. Do your best. Do whatever it takes. Try. So, no businessman just start business and succeeded, boom. Even though you have a mentor, A mentor walk you through the process, which you, the only reason why you will not fail woefully is because you have a mentor. But the process you must pass through. So when you begin to ask yourself, what if I don't read the book? What if I don't send the text? What if that is where that conversation starts? That would definitely lead to what we call doubt. And that is a big problem. Right here, you know, very important. This is exactly how the serpent began with Eve, through conversations. This is how the serpent began with Eve, through conversation. These are the enemy. Because that thing was not really a serpent, it was not a fruit, it was a matter of disobedience. You ask yourself this is how the enemy started, well, began with Eve through suggestion. So everything that the enemy, whenever you want to doubt yourself, and I will talk about doubt very soon. Because without faith you cannot please God. And he that must ask that lack wisdom should ask him that give liberally. And if you ask, don't doubt, because if you're doubting, you're like a man, a dull-minded man, like his wave of the sea, tossed to and fro. That of course you cannot receive anything from the Lord. We'll come to all those ones because I'm not a pastor, but I want to make you understand that if you start thinking, what if my family, what if my marriage will not succeed? It will not succeed. What if my business will not work? What if what if I have an accident on the road? What if I have an aircraft? What if we begin to entertain negative suggestions? It will happen to you. Remember, whatever your mind focus, it expands. Whatever you think about, you attract to yourself. So don't entertain negative suggestions, because that if you want to entertain, I'll show you how to do it when we come to 4 practices. I'll show you how to. You are beginning to entertain positive what suggestions. What if I succeed? What if I make it? What if I do this? What if I become a? Begin to ask yourself that question, not negative conversations. Okay. The challenging part is that when you begin to entertain negative conversations in your business, in anything you do, something happen. That will lead us to number 2. Right? Number 2. This is number 1. Number 2. Right? Number 2. Right there. Scenario. Under scenario, put bracket. Imagination. Imagination. Imagine. This is suggestions. Bracket with what? Conversations. Number 2. Scenario. Bracket open what? Imaginations. Under imagination, you put there an image nation, because imagination is simply an image nation. So now image nation is simply a picture nation. So now picture nation. Now once you begin to entertain suggestions, what happened that you take it to a nation that start creating pictures. That is how doubt starts. That start with what if your husband is cheating on you? What if your wife is cheating on you? What if your family did not work out? What if your pastor is collecting? What if your village? What if? And from that what if, you begin to create a mental picture. Because imagination is mental picture. Turn on mental picture. Mental picture. Once you begin to create mental, you begin to get what mental movie. Turn on mental movies. Mental movies. So you begin to create movies and pictures, and that is when doubt is taking form. When doubt has formed, it manifests as stronghold. We'll come to. Let me give you some notes to write, because this thing called doubt is a major challenge. So no matter how you finish talking to somebody, you're going to be a millionaire, you will make more money, we're going to make impact. As he's leaving you, the enemy came in with suggestion, either with himself or with others. Forget about that thing. Now so they want me, now so they carry make for this life. If now all of them blow, I begin to entertain it, negative suggestions, it becomes a problem. So let's pick the second one, scenario. I say put the imagination. Write it down. If you don't immediately reject negative suggestions, it will become a mental movie in your mind. If you don't immediately reject negative suggestions, it becomes a mental movies and pictures in your mind. Full stop. If you don't immediately reject negative suggestions, in your mind, it will become a mental movie, and it will create mental pictures in your mind. Full stop. So Christ told them, who do men say I am? This one said, this one Elijah, this one said this one. He said, okay, who do you say I am? Peter now said, you are the Son of God. Of course, he said, flesh and blood have not revealed to you. The next statement in that same chapter, Christ began to tell them how you'll be crucified, how you'll be going to pass through the problems of life. Peter now said, no, you cannot do that. He said, get thee behind me, Satan. Because these are introduction of negative suggestions. I said, if you don't immediately reject negative suggestions, it becomes a mental movie and creates mental pictures in your mind. Full stop. So how does it work? Write it down. If you start imagining failure, shame. If you start imagining failure, shame, poverty, rejection. If you start imagining failure, If you start imagining failure, comma shame, comma poverty, comma rejection, comma downfall, comma problems, if you start imagining failure, rejections, they don't like me, people don't care about me, rejections, shame, downfall, poverty, etc. If you start imagining failure, comma shame, comma poverty, comma rejection, comma defeat, comma downfall, comma people don't like me, I'm not good enough. If you start imagining all those negative things, etc., it becomes a movie. It becomes a movie, and you start watching it. It becomes a movie in your mind that only you can watch. You know, the way you watch this movie in your mind that you are creating. What if you create positive things? We do it, but we do positive. But poor man do negative. I know he start from, he begin to define himself based on circumstances. He defines himself based on what he's passing through. No, those things are not temporary. Those things are not permanent, temporary, because every problem has a expiring date. So if you start imagining rejections, shame, failure, I know, and it becomes a movie in your mind, and you start watching it only by yourself. Full stop. Doubt is a strategy of the enemy to derail your destiny. Doubt is the strategy of the enemy. Doubt is the strategy of the enemy to derail your destiny, regardless of your location. Doubt is the strategy of the enemy to derail your destiny. Doubt is the strategy of the enemy to derail your destiny, regardless of your location. So it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are. Doubt is the strategy of the enemy to derail your destiny, regardless of your location. So what does it do? The enemy established doubt in your mind as a stronghold for many entrepreneurs, and it comes from entertaining negative suggestion. What if I go into poultry farm, fish farm, go into carpentry, go into real estate, go into production, go to capital human development? What if I don't succeed? And that leads to imagination. And after imagination has fully formed, what will happen is that, something will happen. Doubt will manifest. So you give birth to a child called doubt. So we need to verbally reject every negative suggestion by the enemy by developing an argument against it. So I remember when the enemy took Christ to the top of the mountain, he said, turn this stone into bread. And what he did was to develop an argument against it using verbal programming. It is written, man shall not live by bread alone. He said, jump, the angels will catch you, and do this, do that one. So what am I trying to say in essence is this: if you're not receiving the content of character of information in your life, you are empty with words. You don't know what to say, so the enemy will defeat you. So you must feed yourself with so much information that no matter the angle, the enemy will come. And when there's a casting down, you say there's a lifting up. Where others could not succeed, I will succeed, because greater is it that is in me. As an entrepreneur, I will succeed in the business place, in the marketplace. So you don't have content of information. The enemy will always come with negative suggestions, and you will never know because you are not aware. You start to entertain it, but you are aware. And anything negative suggestion that won't happen to your life, you use your mouth and verbally says, by his stripes I am what? Healed. Cause is a man that was hung on a tree. That because he has delivered from the curse of the law, he has taken away my sins. So I'm enjoying the liberty. I'm enjoying the victory that he has done for me. So these things is what you need as an entrepreneur, so that you can actually don't entertain negative, that you can develop an argument statement against the negative things that happen here. Because if you accept suggestions as seed, it will start to grow root, and those will show up in your imagination. That makes you imagine scenarios that is inconsistent with the certainty you have once had. You start imagining scenarios that is not consistent with the promise of God for your goals, for your aspiration, for your destiny. That is how that comes. So write this down, very, very important. The imagination will grow even bigger roots and become stronghold. Bracket open doubt. Negative imagination, let's put it like that. Negative imagination will grow even bigger roots. Negative imagination will grow even bigger roots and become a stronghold. Negative imagination will grow even bigger roots and become a stronghold. Negative imagination will grow even bigger roots and become a stronghold. Negative imagination. So nobody just doubts because somebody said doubt. No. It starts with negative suggestions, negative imaginations, and it will go bigger roots and become a stronghold. Let's pick the last one before we go to the faith is a spiritual currency. And why? Because in every nation, I told not all, not all. How do I put it on my note? Not all. No, not that is naira. I don't know this currency. No, not. Eh? Oh yes, thank you. Not all money are what? Currency. But all currency are what? Money. Yes. I'll talk about three currencies that is very important in your life and how they operate. And then we'll talk about the reason why we buy things from the infinite intelligence, the realm of imagination, the realm of shapeless, to bring it to the third dimension. You need faith. Faith is that currency. So I'll show you how the currency works. Just like you cannot buy things in US with naira, you cannot buy things in UK with naira. Not that naira is not a currency; it's a currency, but it doesn't work everywhere. So you can say not all money are currency, but all currency are what? Money. I'll talk about that. So let me just do stronghold. I told you anatomy of doubt is that doubt doesn't just start. Doubt start with negative suggestions, negative imaginations. When it grows bigger, it becomes a what? A stronghold. So when somebody comes with you to tell you things that doesn't improve your life, doesn't improve your destiny, doesn't move the needle in your favor, don't take it to the direction you want to go to, tell the person, get thee behind me, Satan. If somebody comes to remind you where you are coming from that you don't like, tell him, get thee behind me, Satan. Something that you will not succeed, tell him, get thee behind me, Satan. Say you are going to be sick, tell him, get behind me, Satan. You will not excel in whatever you do, tell the person, get thee behind me, Satan. You don't want to insult him, tell him, I'm very busy. What do you tell the person? I'm very busy. Don't entertain negative suggestions. So because you don't know what negative suggestions, that's why I said that he said that bad communication corrupt what? Good manners. Because when you start with bad suggestions, that's the quality of people you associate with matters a lot. But the quality of people you associate with determines the quality of your conversations. And quality of conversation, there's the quality of your life. Like me, I don't like people telling me negative. I don't like negative news. When you call me and say, Afana, any good news for me? Because me, I like good news. Good news is called gospel. Tell no gospel. Gospel is good news. I bring good news to you. Good time. I like good news. News that define me, that improve my person, that may become strong in my character, my behavior, that will help me help other people become better. So I like good news. And maybe because my name is Offon Box, so I don't know. Maybe that is why. I don't know. You have to tell me the meaning one. So my name is Good News, so I can see that. So Offon means good, news means box. So you have to understand the meaning one later. So let's take stronghold. Tell us stronghold. Okay, write this down. You're not very well. Um. Okay, write it down. If you don't shut down the scenario, if you don't shut down the scenario, it begins to act as if God's truth may not be true. If you don't shut down scenario, comma, you begin acting as if God's truth may not be true for you. If you don't shut down scenario, negative scenarios, if you don't shut down negative scenarios, comma, you begin acting as if God's truth may not be true for you. If you don't shut down negative scenario, you begin to act as if God's truth may not be true for you. Okay, I will need to clean this and make some statements here. If you don't shut down, if you don't cast down negative scenarios, you begin acting as if God's truth may not be true for you. So I told you, not all truth are what? Truth. But all truth are what? True. All truth are what? True. So it is true, nobody can walk on water, but it's truth. Christ walked on water. It is true, fire will burn Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but it's truth. Fire did not burn them. It is true, lion will eat Daniel, but it's truth. Lion did not eat them. So if you don't cast that negative scenario, you begin to act as if God's truth is not true for you, whereas all truth are what? True. What happened to my mind? Okay, please let me release this more. All truth are what? True. Okay, let me bring this one. Okay, so all truth are what? True. So how does it work? Is that if you don't cast down, not cast out, you don't cast out doubt, because doubt is not a demon. I'll talk about that. That is why you cast it down. You take it apart. I'll come to that. So how do you destroy it? I'll show you a practical example so you understand how it works. So if you don't cast down this negative scenario, you begin to act as if God's truth may not be true for you. Okay, I'll give you something to write. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. So what will happen is that Okay, so how does it becomes doubt? Number one, on that scenario, on that stronghold, you know God is with you. Number one, that is under this one. Number one, you write, you know God is with you, comma, but you act as if you are alone. That's when somebody is doubt. You know God is with you, comma, but you act as if you are alone. You know that is in your mind, you know, but your actions is different from what you know. That is when you are okay, just like in the dark. You begin to think, oh, something will come and catch me. Now, you know, I'm thinking like that because it comes through. It just happens like, like negative suggestion in your talking to yourself. Because you're talking to yourself now, you create a mental place, something will come and catch me. Those days we're growing up, we used to watch Willy Willy. You just say, oh, Willy Willy is coming, oh, and then you start being afraid. Fear don't set in, doubt don't set in, right? So, you know, God is with you, comma, but you act as if you are what? Alone. So you are in the middle of something, you cannot say, God, I know you are with me. Because you are with me, I know I'm succeeding, I know I'm excelling. So you know God is with you, but you act as if you are alone. Number two, how you know somebody is doubting? You know you are anointed, but you act as if you are unsupported. You know you are anointed, you know I'm blessed, but you act as if you are not supported. You act as if nothing is supporting that. Spirit of God is not supporting. Holy Spirit is not supporting you. You know you are anointed. You know you are blessed, but your action, you're acting as if you are not supported. Okay. Number three, you know you are called, but you act as if you are unqualified. You know you are called. I know I am called to the marketplace. I'm called to my village. I'm called to my nation. That's why I was giving birth in a particular location because God is calling me to make an impact, contribution, to leave that place a better than I met him, to pay legacy. I know I'm called to good works. I know I'm called to liberate men. I know I'm called to make impact. I know I'm called to become an entrepreneur. I know I'm called to build business. I know I'm called to bless men. I know I'm called to become a vessel unto honor. I know I am called, comma, but you act as if you are not qualified. You know, I'm not good enough. It's not people like me. You know, I'm not tall, I'm not too short, I'm not too fat, I'm not. This is the problem. You know that you are called. You know you are anointed. You know that God is with you. But action is opposite. Now write it down. You know. This is a sign that doubt has matured into a stronghold in your mind. This is a big sign that doubt has matured into a stronghold. That when you know something but you're acting differently, you know you're supposed to send text, but you're acting as if I don't have money. So you know you're supposed to do prospect, you know you're supposed to do something, but your action is different. You know you're supposed to read book and summarize, but you're acting as if that in a book I go chop. Whereas you, now we know that is a sign that has matured into a stronghold. Oh my God. That you know that you're supposed to do this thing, but your action is different. You know you're supposed to be sending love message to your wife, your husband every time. Or you're acting as if and I'm the only one. It's not reciprocating. Do that which you are called to do. Be faithful in it. With time, he will come to his senses. You know you're supposed to build men. They're acting as if, you know, I don't have what it takes. That's how we know this thing becomes strong. It's a very stronghold. In fact, this one now, let me tell you what to write. Remember, stronghold is not a demon. We cannot cast it out. Remember, stronghold is not a demon. We cannot cast it out. It can only be cast down. Cast down, tear, cast down, tear them. It can be something you say, get out in Jesus' name. No. It must be cast down. It must cast down. You must use knowledge to tear it. So remember, stronghold is not a demon. We cannot cast it out. So the only solution to stronghold is knowledge. To cast it down to the knowledge. You must use knowledge to solve this thing where I teach you now. Now the only way to solve stronghold. Remember, stronghold is not a demon. We cannot cast it out. So the only solution to stronghold is knowledge. Let's put it like that. Remember, stronghold is not a demon. We cannot cast it out. So the only solution to stronghold is knowledge. Bracket open, casting it down. Tear them, cast it down. Tear them. Because you know why you need to take it down? A stronghold is a conclusion that you constantly act on. A stronghold is a conclusion of your mind. Like it has concluded that you're acting on it. That's why you need knowledge. I'll give you something to think about. I'm not a pastor, I told you. I'm not a pastor. I'm a businessman, entrepreneur, and investor. I'm a business coach, entrepreneur mentor, and also an investor's coach. So I do three things in my life. I talk about business, investment, and of course to become an entrepreneur. And I talk about it. This is what I do. This is what I talk about. Because I know you become an entrepreneur, business and an investment working for you. You can serve God better. You can do good works. You can life become easy for all of us. Because this world, God says, let thy kingdom come, let thy will be done on earth as his way in heaven. The will of God must be done here. We must be here, the will of God must be done. We can no longer be servants again, we become kings. Because he's the king of what? Kings. We become kings. He's the Lord of what? Lords. We must become lords. We must take dominion. We must take charge. And when you take charge, you need knowledge. So now look at this very well. In the book of Second Corinthians, Second Corinthians, of course, verse 10, of course, 3 to 5. He says, son said, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war against the flesh. For the weapon of our warfare are not what? Carnal, but mighty through God in the pulling down of what? Strongholds. The verse 5 says, casting down imagination. Casting down what? Imagination. Imagination happens scenario. You must cast it down. And every high thing that exalts himself against the knowledge of the God. Knowledge. So no knowledge. Now, what do you need to cast down? If you can, if like then gather all the people that are filled with demons, cast them out to swine. They will go and call many ones and come and check why that house they left, why that house is empty, or they will bring 7 more. So because you don't cast out, when something comes stronghold, you know the cast down. You need knowledge. That's why I say casting down. Casting is not cast out. Say casting down every imagination. That's every scenario. And everything that exalts himself against the knowledge of God, and bringing the captivity every thought, every thought to the obedience of Christ. So every thought. So this thing need knowledge. It's not about prayer and fasting. You can pray and fast for tomorrow. Casting down imagination, scenarios, conflicting narrative, negative things that exalt himself against the character of God, nature of God, your dreams, your goals, your visions, your ideas. In fact, if you've not written anything down, write this one down today. You never, in fact, you thank God you came for this class, because you don't need anointing to cast out stronghold. You need knowledge to cast down stronghold. So anointing is good. Like I love anointing, but my brother, what do you need now? Knowledge. He that has brain, sense is expected. Write it down. The evidence of doubt and internal conflict. The evidence of doubt and internal conflict is acting in a way that is incompatible with what you say you know. The evidence of doubt and internal conflict. The only way I know somebody is doubting and has internal conflict. The evidence of doubt and internal conflict is acting in a way that is incompatible with what you say you know. The evidence of doubt and internal conflict, I know you are fighting with yourself, is acting in a way that is incompatible with what you say you know. That you know you are a millionaire and you confess it with your mouth, but you don't want to pass through a discipline of manifesting millions in your life. I know this person is doubting, and what you need is not laying of hands and laying. What you need is to sit down. Let me educate him. Let me give you. So I told you the same thing: academics and education. Academics is study of everything outside of you. There's everything academics, academics and education. Academics is study of everything outside of you. Outside. Like biology, physics, everything about you, everything about you, like sun, weather, chemistry, whatever happens outside of human nature, outside of you is called academics. That's what we do in school. Thank you so much. But education is study of something happening inside of you. You cannot study your behavior, your character. I said, when you give somebody a certificate, say a body of character and what? And knowledge. That is schooling. So you are body of character, that is this one and this one. So they give this certificate for 2, they're not one. So until a man is educated for a word called the do Sarah, inside out, until you begin to bet something outside of you, you are not living for anything, you cannot be fulfilled. So doubt is the evidence of doubt and internal conflict acting in a way that is incompatible with what you say you know. Write it down again and again. Doubt is more dangerous than unbelief. Doubt is more dangerous than unbelief. Doubt is not for unbelievers. Doubt is for believers who knows that God is with them, but they're acting as if they're alone. Who knows that they're good enough, but they're acting as if they're not good enough. Who knows they're supposed to do something, but they're acting as if they're looking for who to blame. My brother is not helping me. My sister is not helping me. In fact, your doubts get degree. Economy is not working for me. Things are hard with me. In fact, now why you there where you there? Who blames, complain, and justify? Money is not everything. No. but I need more money to pay transport. Only the believers can go through that. That only happens when the believer happens to the believer, because you need faith to doubt. So you only cast out demons, but you must tear down stronghold. Tearing down stronghold means you need to deconstruct, because it's the conclusion that you have been acting upon. So you need a new conclusion. It is important. It is important to, okay. So I'm supposed to talk about faith as a spiritual currency. And before I talk about faith as a spiritual currency, I need to write this down. I know I'm ending the class here. I need to write this one down. Okay. I've been telling us that man is a spirit that lives in a body, that has a mind. And I told you, as food is to the body, so is word of God to the spirit, so is knowledge. The knowledge to the mind. So what the body needs to spend, what the money needs to do, so physical currency, namely naira, dollars, pounds, physical currency, coin, physical currency. That is what the body needs to do. The spirit needs to spend spiritual currency. So I'll give you some example of them. Then this one needs to spend what I call, of course, I call it moral currency. Moral currency. So, example of spiritual currency, the biggest of them is called faith. Faith. Good. The biggest of them is called faith. Faith is the currency that you choose to buy. I'll put to you faith. And so, example of faith, all this one now, naira, coin, dollars, any of those currencies, you see. Why? Example of moral, you see behavior. Behavior. You see character. Character. You see integrity. They are all currency. So, now, all of them needs to be used at different point. An example, I'll give you so many examples of spiritual currencies you can use. so one of the things that happens is that doubt is deflating faith. Naira, if you do naira and dollars and pounds. So the reason why naira things are expensive is because of inflation. That means naira is devaluing against dollar, international exchange, the forex exchange rate. So that's what doubt. What happening to naira to dollar is what happening to doubt to faith. So you need more. If you are doubting, you need more faith to buy. But if your faith is strong, you need more faith to buy things. Everything you ever see existing in the physical world, is was purchased from the spiritual world. So, and what the currency that we use to buy things into the world is called faith. So we must sit down and believe that my idea, this is an idea. You use faith to purchase this. The entrepreneur, faith is what they use to buy laptop, phone, shoe, internet, name it, Google. Men that understood currencies, that's what we used to purchase at that realm. So the only major stronger currency of the spiritual realm is faith. That is why I'll just want to read one or two. So tomorrow I'll go to outline number 2 to show you that when your faith is small, you cannot do anything, you cannot do much. I put it somewhere here. How did I miss this today? Maybe tomorrow. Okay, here. Let me just do one of them, and then tomorrow we'll do something very important. Under faith is a spiritual currency. James put it very well. James 1 verse 5. James put it very well for me to understand. He said that if any of you lack wisdom, that means if you want to buy wisdom, if you need it, if you lack wisdom, you should ask God. Buy it. Who gives generously to all without finding fault, and to be given to you. Verse 6 says, but when you ask, you must believe. Tell not believe. I told you believe. Doubt is negative belief. Faith is faith. You must believe and not doubt. Because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything. Tell not anything. I think this will get to verse 8 itself. There is only James 1, 5 to 8. 5 to 8. Because 7 says, the person should not expect to receive anything. Underline the word anything from the Lord. Such a person is a double-minded man, unstable in all that he do, in all his ways. So, if you want to buy wisdom, you need faith. If you want to buy knowledge, you need faith. Anyway, you need faith. So, because if you don't believe, I thought about faith. Faith is a positive belief. That's a negative belief. So, what deflects it? What makes people not to buy things from whatever they see in their mind to bring it to the real world is doubt. So doubt is a real enemy. Why you have not manifest and materialize your ideas in this world. So by tomorrow, I'll be able to do I'll talk more about faith, and I'll give you some two strategy why it's a stronger currency. You bring things from this realm to this realm, and that for that to happen, this your mind must be renewed. You see this mind? This mind is a battlefield. Then a battlefield. That I said that be you renewed, be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Transformation happens here. So until a man is transformed, until the man is transformed, it's difficult for him to manifest in his body. So the real problem is not the body. The real problem, the battle or warfare are not what? Carnal. Pulling down of what? Stronghold. They're not stronghold. Now this is a problem now because your body responds to the pictures in your mind. Tell now my body responds to the picture of my mind. So whatever happens in the body is a result of the picture you have in your mind. So whatever happens in your physical life is a result of your mindset. So if your body is not going well, your mind is not going well. Your body is doing well, your mind is doing well. So this is a problem. And God doesn't judge body. God judges the intent of a man's thought. There's a he that look at a woman lustfully, the dream is counted for him already. So God, look at what God is looking at. Not looking because God, you know that God doesn't care about this. This is what he cares about. God needs this mind. That's why these two bodies, these two things, they fight for this guy. So don't worry, tomorrow we'll talk about it. So you understand why you need to be in charge. So now I'm in charge. I'm in charge. So that you will not, if things are happening for you that you don't like, at least you know that, okay, I know what to do. And knowing what to do is very, very important because knowledge liberates. Knowledge helps us. Just knowing that you know gives good appeal. Because if you don't know that you know, you begin to put you under agitation, you begin to worry, you begin to look for fault. No, now. So you know that, okay, this is where I am. And this is where I want to be. And this is what I need to take. This is a vehicle I need to take that will take me to where I want to go. Knowing that alone, knowing that Lord boosts your confidence, audacity. No matter the challenging period, no matter what is happening around you, you know that definitely you are going to emerge as a victor. Say, I'm a victor. I'm a victor. That one is begging for the church card. Touch yourself. Say, I'm a success. I'm a success. You can do better than that. Touch yourself and say, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. Say, I'm a millionaire creator. I'm a millionaire creator. Okay, that's the best you can take today. It's exactly 9 o'clock, so I think we didn't chop your time today. We only need more time in taking contribution. So the class is 8 to 9. So online communities, don't get involved in a business without a mentor. Please get a mentor today. Why? Because mentorship is a little shortcut to success. And he that stands at the shore of mentors will see far. See you tomorrow. See you at the top. God bless you. Have a wonderful time. Shalom. That is the best we can take today.